Welcome to the Look Good, Move Well podcast.
Okay, what is your, what would be like a great midweek date night? What would work for you? What would be like your go-to?
My go-to? Well, my go-to...
And I say midweek because it can't be like, it's not like we're going to stay out till like 2 a.m. because like you got work the next day. So it's like a reasonable, evening on a weekday.
Reasonable evening. Well, my go-to when I lived in the city was that on Thursday nights, SF MoMA would have a free night and free admission. And I absolutely love going to art museums. And so I would take the train downtown, check out some art, pick up a guy. That was like a good routine for me when I lived in the city. Now I would say it's more like get food delivered to my house, put on my pajamas at 7 p.m.
Right on.
And like read a book.
Nate is fist pumping over there like the Jersey Shore. He likes that one. As soon as you said like I love a good art museum, I was like, wow. We are not the same. We are not the
same. That's your nightmare.
This is why we didn't meet until,
I should just date your wife because she would love that shit.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe she just hides her love of art museums because she knows I'll just gag. Yeah. But we had a midweek date night last night. We got sushi. And then we reserved a tennis court. We went and used the we pulled the ball machine out.
Oh.
And we hit balls for about 45 minutes. It was pretty nice.
So fun.
It was super fun.
That's great.
Under the lights, it was freezing cold.
Oh my God.
It was like 40 degrees, which is not freezing. It's above freezing, but for a California boy, it was chilly, but it was quite fun. And what was super cool was that the court next to us, there was a mom that we recognized from kindergarten, was there. She has 3 boys. And man, she's dedicated. She's got her whole giant bag of tennis balls. Mm-hmm. And they basically all the kids were rotating and they would each take 20 minutes, 30 minutes with her. And she would just hit them balls. And then they would play the older one, the younger one who's in kindergarten, Noah's age, mm-hmm. is the kid's good. He is just dialed in. It was so cute. She was like, okay, fast feet. She had a pretty thick Russian accent too. She's like, fast feet, and then turn your feet, and he was just following all the directions and just into it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then the older kids, maybe the oldest one was maybe Pascal's age, I'm not sure, but a little bit older, not even that old, and was just rallying with her, and they were playing pretty aggressive matches, and she was like, ugh! Monica, what was it? What was the tennis player's name who would grunt every time?
I can't remember her name, but I know exactly who you're thinking.
Anyway, she sounded like her. It was I was like, this is nuts. This is so cool. And we were like, do you come out here every night? She's like, in the summertime, yes. And I was like, yeah, because if it was summer, it would be hot and still sunny out at 7:15 p.m. But last night it was cold and dark.
Sat there in the dark with her kids.
But yeah, the lights were awesome. Anyway, so yeah, we had sushi and tennis.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
The other thing I loved to do before COVID was I used to go to tango on Wednesday nights, which was really fun. Yeah. But now I don't feel so comfortable getting really up close to strangers in the post-COVID era.
Yeah. You know, there's viruses out there and stuff.
There's stuff. And plus everyone in tango is 80 years old. So I don't want to kill an old man, by accident.
This is the best. Yes.
But it's a good segue into our topic, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Right. It is a segue. It's a great one. Okay. Why don't you introduce the topic?
Wait till you see where I'm going with this.
Okay, good.
Okay. So our topic, I'm gonna back up a step and paint the little picture of how I came up with this topic for our podcast today.
Yeah.
Which is that I have been encountering some issues with my hips I'm 45 and I sit at a desk a lot. And when I would go and squat and do bending leg type movements, I would get some hip pain and just feel really stiff and incapable. And I felt like, oh, I feel like I'm about to injure myself. And so I started working with a mobility coach, shout out to Becca, and have been working really hard on my mobility. And now I feel like I'm doing so much better and can get after some squats, and I'm super sore today and just kind of pumped that I'm like back to like being able to push that more.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, this is something that I wish more people had access to, where when you're getting older and your body issues start to creep up, I know that I can go and work on my mobility, and that will make a huge difference and I'll feel so much better. But the typical route that people tend to take is I go see the doctor, they give me like a painkiller maybe, or tell me I need surgery, or like what's the typical path that someone might take if they don't have access to mobility
Becca.
and that sort of, and Becca and, you know, all of the good things that in our fitness bubble we know about and have access to.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, what if I redesigned the world in a way where that was a thing that like everybody knew about, like, and what would some of the other things be that would just be part of the fabric of life, like segue, just being able to move with your kids all the time, and, you know, having that be something that's super, super common instead of, oh, wow, this mom's like really getting after it with her kids. Like, that's so special that she makes that time to do something physical with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if those like, it's interesting because like Megan and I have been talking a lot about like, we're revisiting things from our childhood that like our parents did with us, you know, and it's like, we're like kind of dabbling in tennis right now. And then we like keep having this idea of like, oh, it'd be fun to get our kids out there. And then we see other kids doing it. We're like, yeah, let's, you know, and then I was like, oh yeah, my mom kind of used to take me and my brother out and like, we used to hit tennis balls, like, under the lights. Like we used to go do that kind of stuff, like, you know, remembering what she, you know, did for us as kids, and maybe what that, you know, why I have such like a killer forehand now. Have not touched a tennis racket in 30 years. But yeah. And then, well, to answer the question, what do people typically get? You know, it's like the healthcare system's going to say, you know, rest. Yeah, that's right. Rest it, or
don't
just
squat.
Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
you're probably too old. You probably shouldn't do that anymore. I mean, more and more there's better healthcare there are healthcare practitioners who have a different theory and philosophy, and they see things, you know, they see movement as medicine, not as like a potential threat to your well-being. But yeah, rest is going to be there. Painkillers or pain management is going to be there. You know, surgical intervention or other procedures are going to be there. And then, you know, mechanical support is going to be there for injuries.
A brace or something.
Yeah. And, you know, all of those things, you can patch it together and keep going on. But like, none of it's fixing, you know, the root cause. None of it's going to actually give you back function. It's going to extend your ability to function at the level that you're at for a period of time. And that's barring like any acute injury that was like, you know, from like an impact or something, you know, like if you like blow out your knee on a ski slope, you know, go get surgery on that if you want to rebuild those structures. And then, but don't let somebody say like, okay, now you should never ski again. Like, so yeah, that's typical. But yeah, it's like, how would we redesign, or how would I redesign things? I think it starts with, trying to instill a deep understanding, appreciation, and like confidence in oneself that our bodies are, and I said this on a recent podcast, are quite resilient, and we have all the mechanisms and physiology and DNA and, capability of healing ourselves and being robust, strong, resilient, vibrant, energetic humans. But you have to have the right inputs in order for that to express.
Yeah.
And what does that look like in modern day? We're still trying to uncover that. My good friend, the Liver King, he believes that is, we have that in us from our ancestral heritage, and that all we need to do is we just need to live like our ancestors, and we have this robust healing strength capacity inside of us. If we get sun, if we put our feet on the earth, if we eat nose to tail nutrition, if we lift heavy things, if we, bond with our tribe, if, the things that it gets sun, the things that he talks about, that is his recipe for then now you can express your most, vibrant self, and you can heal and you can recover and you can overcome physical setbacks, and you can be healthy and strong for well into old age. You can be physically active. And I believe this too. And that we have all the resources and abilities inside of us and mechanisms to live into old age very functional and energetic and active and pain-free. And what is the recipe for that? I don't necessarily believe it has to be eating, heart, liver, and bone marrow every day. Is there some overlap there? Sure. Getting really nutrient dense foods, that's part of it. But anyway, going back to the question, it's like, it has to start with teaching that framework, not like the ancestral framework, but just like, it's all there. You don't need any of these things. All these things are all these these tools to help you heal or to mask pain, or they may serve a purpose at different times, but for the vast majority of human history, we didn't have any of that, and we still were able to heal ourselves and get strong and be better. And now, because there's a pill or there's a surgery or there's something, it doesn't mean we need it right away, and it doesn't mean that is the answer. It's not an answer. It's a momentary solution in most cases. That's going to buy you a certain amount of time before the problem resurfaces again. And none of that time you're going to get back to your most vibrant, energetic, strong, healthy self. At no point will you. You'll just be prolonging this lower functioning, less vibrant, less energetic, less strong self through a little patch up job.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking a lot about how a huge part of the recipe has to do with just your belief, because I think so many people, when they feel bad in their body, they want somebody to tell them what the cure is. They want someone to give them the cure. And it works so well for the prescription drug industry to, just take this pill.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah. And, it's, it's what I find it kind of remarkable that we reference him so frequently, and I reference him so frequently, because I'm like, man, this guy's 32 years old and he's already become part of the sage wisdom person. But Alex Hormozy's got this saying where it's it's not a saying, but it's what is it? He calls it the value equation.
Yeah.
Basically, there's what makes, how do you assign a value to something? And there's a number of inputs, but one that's really relates to this is, what's the time delay to you seeing the result? hey, I'm going to sell you this fix. And the moment you pay me the money, you immediately have the result.
Yeah.
That thing, whatever it is going to be highly valuable, and you could put a price on it that's extremely high, versus, hey, I'm going to sell you this thing, and in 6 years you're going to get the result.
Yeah.
People are like, I'm going to go with the thing that's 20,000 times as expensive, but I'm going to have it today.
Yeah.
And that's what like a pill is, versus like, go get some sun, eat some good food, do some exercise, and, in months or maybe years, you're going to be kicking ass. It's like, well, can I get liposuction now?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a better move. Yeah.
And the other part of the value equation is perceived likelihood of success. So if someone prescribes you a pill and they're an official looking doctor with their coat and they've got their prescription pad out, you're like, cool. Like, they know what they're doing. They know what's up. Versus like, okay, maybe I find some mobility protocol on the internet that could work if I stick to it for 3 months. Like, I don't know if that's really going to pay off.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying before, fortunately, they're becoming more and more frequently practitioners in the healthcare system that have the credibility behind their name, who have worked with thousands of people who practice a different type. It's like when Kelly Starrett, the physical therapist, doctor of physical therapy, after, not just when he first came on the scene, but after several years, had worked with every professional sports team that's out there. Every major, big wave surfer was like on his, list. And it's like the list went on and on and on. And he had tons of success stories, and he was, on all the different talk shows, and he had released a best-selling book. And it's like, and what was he telling you to do? Take control of your own damn health. Go stretch, fix your own stuff. And that was powerful, and so, what is the likelihood of that I can have success? Well, when Joe Schmo is telling me to do this stretch over here, who before the mobility movement happened, 15 years ago, I don't know, I didn't believe that, but now, like in 2008, like 2015, like people were like, whatever the mobility wad says to do, I will do. It's like, yes, I believe I will get there if I just do this thing.
People in the fitness world.
And then people outside the fitness world, like, Supple Leopard becomes a book that is being featured on Good Morning America, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he's being consulted by, the White House coalition for like the betterment of like kids' health and like stand-up desks and stuff like that. So it's starting to seep outside of it. Yeah, it starts to snowball. But you're right. Like, you need to have the credibility there, and that was a big part of my conflict in leaving medical school. Was like, I got into the system to hopefully earn the credential to then change it from the inside. And I just didn't make it through. It was just too painful to go through that process. But that would have been, I mean, when people say, hey, do you regret dropping out of medical school? I'm like, absolutely not, except for I wish I had an MD behind my name.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be practicing medicine right now. I wouldn't be doing anything necessarily in that realm. But yeah, if I could just like trade the whatever $220,000 or $240,000 more in debt that I would have been for that title, like that could be pretty profound, I think, for the audience and the places that I might be able to get into, with the same message of look good, move well, functional bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I've been thinking about is how our kids learn about movement. And I see my kids doing PE, and my daughter just started cross country, which she absolutely loves, which is so great. She's so pumped. She's like, I get to ride my bike and I get to run up a mountain, and it's so cool. And I think that kids are really active in a lot of these ways that involve cardio, as we would call it, body weight movements. I know in PE, my kids do lunges and they do push-ups and they do some calisthenic type things. But I feel like learning how to pick up a weight and move that is something that I feel like I think more people could get acclimated to at younger ages, to have that ingrained throughout your life.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I kind of have this, like, now seeing my kids, you know, getting into elementary school or in kindergarten. And I do see some of the parents who are there and they dedicate a lot of time to these schools. And it's one thing to, like, you know, see these teachers that are so dedicated and they are not paid super well and they just are taking such good care of our children. But then to see, like, parents who have, like, are now also going to be there, they're not getting really paid anything. They're just volunteering in many circumstances. And they're, like, super dedicated to the process of these kids' education. And then, like, at my daughter's school, like, the PE teacher, like the local PE teacher, like the guy who's had 3 or 4 kids go through the school system, he's like, you know, like, he's beloved by everybody. He's, like, bringing movement to so many aspects of that school. It's really cool. And then I see this and I'm like, oh man, like, you know, I could see myself at some point, like, really just, like, taking a total detour to be like, yeah, I'm going to go just, like, coach the weight training at the school. Like, and that's what I'm going to dedicate the next 20 years of my life to, like, whatever age that is. Like, and because you're right, that is so meaningful, is teaching movement at an early age, and resistance training, having to, like, do hard stuff and push yourself. And it's just seen so much over time, like the farm boy sort of example. It's like, oh yeah, so-and-so farm boy, and he's just, like, crushing it in whatever sport that he wants to play. It's like, why? Because he just lifted weights when he was a kid and, like, had to do hard physical stuff and was moving around. It's like, he just got 10 years a head start on all these other kids in strength conditioning. Sorry. You know, it happened to have a purpose, you know, for either, like, feeding the family or, you know, supporting the family business of whatever the farm was. But he's just a workhorse because he was lifting bales of hay and carrying buckets and shoveling stuff and, you know, work capacity. I mean, I got to, like, I'm on my feet all day doing cardio. Okay. We can replicate that. Like, not everyone is living on a farm these days, but we can replicate those things. We can teach those things. So absolutely, like, the education system that we would build to, like, you know, rewrite the healthcare code and the healthcare system, it would, in my opinion, it starts with kids have to understand that they have everything inside of them to heal and to get strong and to create whatever they want. Not like you're just going to break, and when you break, we have a fix over here. That has to be wiped out.
Yeah.
A new belief and confidence in oneself has to come. And what that does is it makes for confident children that will take risks because they're not worried about breaking, because they know they can heal. Like, I don't want you to take a header off the top of the car. Like, that could be catastrophic, but, like, go out and jump off things and, like, climb up stuff. Like, don't stop this. Like, oh, be careful. Like, don't climb up there. It's like, climb up it, fall off the thing. Like, there are a few times where I see my daughter, like, she's like, oh, I want to try this. And I'm like, nope. Like, you don't know enough yet. Like, that could be really bad, you know? And why does that happen? Because we've built man-made structures that kind of push the limits of, you know, what we should be doing with our children, you know, but that's few and far between. The vast majority of the time, I, like, get a little scared, but I'm like, oh, she's just going to bang something and, you know, Like the worst injury she had was like in a man-made like airport with like marble edges where they shouldn't be at like head height for a kid. And she cracked her head on this marble ledge that gave her a cut that she had to get stitches on. It's like, no. And the other close call was when I dropped a knife like in the vicinity of my kid and it like cut her finger. Like these were not the crazy stuff that they do, jumping off of the edge of the, couch and like trying to climb up trees. It's like, that's not where they're getting hurt. They're getting hurt on these other ridiculous things that we're, anyway. So building confidence there. You can heal, you can be strong, you can fix yourself as long as you give yourself the right inputs. Teaching them how to move and lift weights and lift things correctly, which basically comes from either teaching them how to do it or them doing it enough times where they figure it out themselves. Either path, you're going to learn how to pick the thing up correctly. Nobody taught the farm boy how to
lift a bucket or do whatever,
toss the bale. Hey, it just was like, get that thing on the truck. It's like, I can't do it. It's like, well, keep figuring it out. Oh, I figured it out. Like it figures itself out if you do it enough times. But in this world of like, everyone's got to be safe and not like, okay, we can teach you some technique. That's fine. And there's a cool video that's circulating, and I don't know the element. It's not an elementary school. It's like a junior high, but Squat University on Instagram posts it from time to time. But it's basically like these are like 6th, 7th graders, and the PE coach that's in the weight room with them is like counting out tempo, and like you've got a room full of like 30 kids in unison doing pistol squats at tempo on benches, on the floor, on boxes with their heels, all these different positions. But it's like 1, 2, 3, and they're all going down in these like perfect pistol squats.
Awesome.
At like 10 years old, or
so cool.
It's really cool. And so they're practicing resistance training, scaled, regressed, with tempo, with control, and it's like in unison. It's like a dance. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
So those are important. And then the next would come like, actually the last 2 things that I think would be important would be, I don't even want to call it like teaching nutrition. I want to call it like teaching self-awareness around fuel, energy, how you feel when something goes in your body. How does it make you like, how does it regulate you up and down?
Yeah.
Cause I think that's certainly where the modern food system really doesn't give people an opportunity to like feel that.
Yeah.
When you didn't have food and you had to go hunt for food, or you had to wait until, your parents hunted the food and brought it to you, like you were sort of like, had to worry, you had to feel starvation, you had to feel hunger, you had to feel what it was like to be like, oh, I don't have anything. Oh, I got something. Oh, that felt good. Or it's like, I felt hunger and I went and ate the thing that I saw, and it made my stomach churn, like, because that was poisonous. I wasn't supposed to eat that. Like, okay, now you have this awareness of how these things are supposed to feel, and what feels good, what feels bad, what it feels like to be satiated, what it feels like to not, like, and all of that just gets like completely bypassed. There's like, you're just processing so many different types of foods from so many different places. You don't even know the source, and lots of calories, not a lot of calories, lots of artificial flavors, lots of sweeteners, lots of fat, lots of this. I'm not understanding what this is doing to me or how I feel. And I think when people can really connect to like how food makes them feel and what gives them energy, like they'll start to self-select good stuff that will give them the energy, the body composition, not even like to appease society, but to like feel your best and just be like, when I eat this, I feel awesome and I'm having a better day. Yeah. And that's the kind of teaching I think that we try to do with our kids. Like, when they say like, it's Halloween night, there's going to be candy. Before we went out, we just said to them, we're like, hey guys, there's going to be some candy tonight. Can we all try something? if you guys want to have a piece of candy, you can. But before you do, we'll just check in with ourselves and we'll just say, how do I feel right now? Am I full? Do I need something? Do I want something? Because it's not going anywhere. We're going to have it at the house. You can have it later, tomorrow, whenever. Just a small little like lesson, or exercise, but it's like, let's just try something where we start to check in, and it's pretty remarkable. Like my daughter Noah and Joey is a little bit, I mean, they're both good at this, but like Noah just is like, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
You know, she just knows like, hey, I've had enough.
Yep.
She also has kind of like when she has too much stuff, like she throws up right away. She's like, whoa, daddy pull. You know, like we went out and we're at like a birthday party, and it was like, she had a cupcake, the whole cupcake, and then a whole bag of like, of goldfish right away. And she like threw up almost immediately. She's like, whoa, that's too much. I'm better now, but that was too much. I shouldn't have had all that. I was like, interesting. Like I didn't say, like, she didn't throw up, and I'm like, hey, that's why you don't have cupcakes, and that's why you don't have you know, I'm like, oh, she gets it.
Yep.
You know, and she skips things. Like, she's like, could you wipe all the frosting off of that? Cause like, I remember I threw up that one time. It didn't feel good, you know? So anyhow, give the general, we have the ability to heal.
Yep.
Teach them how to lift, move, you know, be active, because it's part of life. And when they get active, they feel excited about it.
Yeah.
The self-awareness piece around putting things in your body and what that feels like and what gives you energy and what feels, you know, try and cultivate that. And then probably the last part is, what about relating to people and relationships fills you up, and what feels yucky and negative, and what feels like it doesn't. It's like, it's just like draining you. When do you feel like really filled? Like, you know, and do you want to give this person a hug? You don't have to, but like, if you want to, you can. And, you know, it's like, go give Uncle so-and-so a hug. It's like, no, it's like, you want to give him a hug? No? Okay, cool. No problem. Like, that's fine. You know, or, oh, you don't want to share that right now? Okay, that's fine. When do you want to share that kind of thing? Like, and, you know, it's funny, like there's a couple boys that, like, one in particular loves to run up and give Noah a big hug. Like as soon as he sees her at school, and I'm always like, is this okay with you? Are you good with this? Like, and she's like, yeah, like it's fine. You know, she, at first she kind of was like, I don't know if I like it. And then within a week she was like, I was like, is it okay if he's giving you a hug? She's like, yeah, it's okay. You know? And so just like starting early, but then that leads into like the relationships in your life are going to have a massive impact on your health, how you eat and what you're drawn to, and whether you're, you know, reaching for things that fill you up or deplete you. Like, that's going to have a massive impact on your health. How you move your body, how frequently you move your body, and with good technique, or like once you learn how to do it well because you've done it enough times, that's going to have a massive impact on your health. And even when all those things are right and you're doing a great job, something's going to go wrong at some point, and something's going to break, something's not going to feel right. And when that thing breaks and you're in pain, it's so easy to forget all of the stuff that you know, that led to you feeling good before. And you're like, fuck, I'm in pain. And there's all of these shiny, like, time to value, like almost nothing that I could pay, and I could just go that route and it could fix me. And it's like, it's almost like you're choosing the red or the blue pill.
Yeah.
Which direction do you want to go?
Yeah.
And it's like, fight the urge to go over there. There might be a time where you need to use it, but fight the urge to go over there, because over here, and if you just give it a little bit more time and you're a bit more patient, this is where you can win it all back and more.
Yeah.
You go there, you're only gonna win back a little bit, and then it's just gonna be a bad downward spiral in that direction.
Yeah. And I'm seeing that downward spiral in so many of my parents' generation,
Yes.
those friends,
Yeah.
and it's surgery after surgery, and nothing feels good, and recovery after recovery, and setback after setback. And
Yep.
I always just wish that people had more access to those tools that are the inputs that can help you feel so much better,
Yeah.
like the input of knowing how to breathe, knowing how to increase your mobility and your flexibility, knowing how to improve your joint strength, all those things that just build resilience in your
Yeah.
life.
Well, I mean, if people are listening to us, then they probably know this already, but that's the mission of functional bodybuilding. That's really what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. And we're doing it through this platform of functional bodybuilding, which is its own sort of movement category and training category. But really, I want more than anything else to just arm people with the knowledge and the skills to just be like, I can do this myself. Like I know how to do this. I can overcome this thing. I can heal myself. I can bring it back, and that's why we keep putting these podcasts out.
Absolutely.
Okay. I've been getting the time check from Nate. It's time to wrap it up. Any final thoughts, Satya?
I just keep thinking that I had a really bad fall down the stairs almost 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I fell down 20 steps head first. I just missed a step and went right down. And I just keep thinking over and over again that my body's resilience probably saved me from a much worse fate that I could have had.
Yeah.
Other than just ending up with some bruises.
Yeah, wow. I see a lot of parents at drop-off who are younger than you that would not have handled that staircase remotely as well.
Yeah.
And that could have been a major event that could lead to some catastrophic downward spiraling in the future.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's what and not everyone listening is reaching the fifth decade of their life and needing to hear that, but keep putting in the work because you're putting money in the bank right now.
Yes.
So anyway, thanks for listening, y'all.
Yeah.
Hit us up with some suggestions on topics if you'd like to hear anything, or if anything about this podcast topic resonated with you and you'd like us to dig into it more. Be sure to send us a DM either at Marcus Philly or at Satya Khan on Instagram, and we will throw it into the hopper.
Yeah, we love those topics.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.